You are live. All right. Welcome to the Jamaal Bethea Show. Welcome to the live version of the Jamaal Bethea Show. Very exciting. This is the first one. It will not be the last, but I think you'll really enjoy yourself today. Today, I have a really awesome guest. I have a really awesome word of the day that goes right in line with the guest that I have. I am very excited for this interview. And to be honest with you, no further ado, let's go. Okay, so as I said here at the Jamaal Bethea Show, we always have a word of the day. Today's word of the day is opportunity. Okay, this is a big word because opportunity is something you have to catch when it happens and when it comes your way. Some opportunities you just don't get a lot. You get them once. If you're lucky, you'll get them twice. Okay, so I looked the word up. Opportunity actually is a series of events that allow something else to be possible, right? So sometimes we don't recognize the events and we feel as though, oh, we didn't get that opportunity. But maybe if you look back, maybe you just missed the opportunity. That can happen a lot of time, right? I'll tell you guys a brief story. We all have heard of Bill Gates, right? Billionaire, 60, 70, 80 billion. So back in the late 70s, early 80s, around that time period, tentatively, Bill Gates was approached by IBM. IBM wanted to create a computer and they wanted software to go along with that computer. So they went to Bill Gates and they said, hey, do you have anything? He said, no, I really don't have software, but there's a guy named Gary Kildall. Check out Gary Kildall. He has something, yada, yada. Gary was rich. Gary, software company, computer guy, was married, spent time doing what he wanted. Bill Gates called him up and said, hey, I can't tell you who I'm sending because, confidentiality clause, but I'm sending somebody very important. Take that meeting serious. Gary got off the phone and didn't take the meeting serious. So Gary wasn't even around when IBM came to meet with him. He was off playing, doing whatever. And his wife ended up taking the meeting. And his wife had the meeting with IBM and they weren't very impressed because his wife didn't know what he knew, of course. No slight to his wife. So they left. Bill Gates gets wind of this and is like, oh, yeah? Basically, he squandered the opportunity that I afforded him. Okay, well, in that case, let me go figure out what to do. So Bill Gates found a little small company that made essentially a version of what Gary had created, software. And he paid that company $50,000 and he sold it and he did business with IBM. That software later became known as Windows. So what happened is they were trying to pay Bill, and this is another thing Bill Gates did well, like the beginning of like licensing. So he said, instead of paying me one flat check, give me $2 to $3 every time you sell one of those computers. And they were like, okay, I guess whatever. But those computers sold 2 million right out the gate. And as we know, Windows went on to be still the household standard for most people in their homes. MacBooks, which I have, have become very, very popular, great for music. They do some things better than Windows. However, Windows is still the overwhelming household standard. And if you think about it, that could have been Gary Kildall. But he did not recognize the opportunity, right? You got to recognize the opportunity, okay? So the reason that I picked opportunity as today's word of the day, and the reason why I told you that story about missed opportunities is because the guest that I have today is somebody that recognized an opportunity. She's awesome. She's amazing. She's in media, PR, branding. We're going to learn a lot today. I hope you really came to learn. I'm gonna talk, but I'm gonna let her go. I'm gonna let her really do her thing, right? She's from where I'm from in Baltimore, but she moved to Florida to chase an opportunity with iHeartMedia. You have to recognize when the opportunity comes, right? So honestly, I don't want to delay anymore. No further ado, guys. I want you to welcome to the stage my friend Ja. What's up, Ja?
Hello. Pleasure to be here, Jamaal. Thank
I'm glad. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for deciding to do this. A couple years ago, You interviewed me with my music, and I was just like, and I have my podcast starting. I would love to talk to you. You have a wealth of knowledge. I'm so glad you're here. You excited as I am?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I know that's right. Do you want to just tell the people about yourself really quickly?
Yeah, so I am Ja. I am now the owner of JZG Public Relations.
JZG.
Yes, I finally did the damn thing. So public relations, and I have about over 15 years of experience in the media and entertainment world. Um,
Mhm.
Started out, I don't know if you want me to go into the spiel, but I high school since 15 years old. So throughout my tenure of being in the industry, I've gone from being in front of the camera to behind the camera. I've worked for corporate America, and I've been an entrepreneur as well. So I've been a few things in this journey.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So do this. I was reading your bio and it just said you've been in entertainment and media for over 13 years. Just talk about briefly, like talk about your experience in the entertainment PR, sector. Just talk about it a little bit.
Okay, sure. So I'm going to start from the beginning. So I started in high school. I'm actually from New York. I was born and raised in New York, and I went to high school in Manhattan. It was an advanced technical school, and
Hmm.
I was writing because I used to creative write a lot. And then I moved to Maryland in the middle of high school, and
Okay.
I started writing for the high school newspaper. I kept going with that, and then when I went to college at Morgan State University in Baltimore, I started writing for the Spokesman, and then I became the online editor. And throughout
Mhm.
writing for the newspapers, I would always do a celebrity corner. So I knew that pop culture and celebrity is what I really, really was passionate about. And throughout college, I was interning. I'm sure you guys may be aware of the Jasmine brand. I
Mhm.
for about a good year or two, and I was just writing. I was going to red carpet events. I was doing interviews, and then I started getting in the podcasting space. So those 5 years of college is kind of where I did the writing part of the entertainment. I did the marketing. I did a lot of different things that I was just passionate about. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where it started in high school, and that's kind of the journey of it. Later on, now me being in Florida and being with iHeart, I took it to the next level. I did all the celebrity stuff, but now I'm introducing them to partnerships and
Mhm.
guys for whatever product or company that they're trying to endorse. So it's a whole scope, a whole world of things that I've been doing since 15, but I'm
Yeah, yeah.
in it of it.
Okay, okay. What's your favorite part of what you do?
My favorite part of what I do, honestly, it would be the creative side where I
Mhm.
create promotional materials and create design for my clients.
Mhm.
Because we talk all day, we try to get them partnerships all day, as a publicist or as a marketing person. And that can kind of get redundant,
Yeah.
sending emails, calling the same folks over and over again. So I think when I get into my creative space and I can really do a campaign and create some things, that's when I'm the most happiest.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, absolutely. I always say that there's two sides to success and greatness. One side is the technical aspect and one side is the creativity. The technical aspect is what makes it what it is, you know what I mean? And then the creative side is what makes it unique to you. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Yeah, yeah. Okay. What exactly was your first job, you would say, per se, like in your space?
My first job, I would say, would outside of me doing the writing in high school, of course, my first
Hmm.
PR job would be a magazine. I was in college. The magazine is called Far Above Rubies magazine. It was a Christian women's magazine, and I was responsible to kind of expand the magazine to a national base to
Hmm.
get certain states where we weren't, heavy in to get them on board and become a subscriber. And it was paid subscriptions back then. So
Okay.
for magazine subscriptions, so I was in charge of that. And that was me doing
Nice.
PR on the side. I wasn't, it wasn't LLC. I didn't have it as a business. I was just doing it to help my community.
Yeah. So it was something you really loved.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
throughout my years doing this. I've done a lot of free stuff for people because I just truly love helping and doing and just being in my space where I can just be creative and just help that business or product.
Hmm. Okay. So you believe that doing what you love matters then?
I Yes, it does to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
With vision and structure,
Mm.
yes, doing what you love is definitely the way to go. The only way to go.
The only way to go. Yeah, I agree with that. Okay. Okay. Given that that's the way you feel, what would you say has been like your biggest lesson?
My biggest lesson, I honestly would say, to trust the process. And this is something that I've struggled with.
Yeah.
I am. I don't know if you guys are bigger signs, but I am a Capricorn, and like I've shared, I've been doing this since I was 15 years old. So, in my industry, we are constantly beat down the head that it takes 10 years to become an overnight success.
Mm-hmm.
Within those 10 years, it's going to be a lot of trials. It's going to be a lot of failures. It's going to be a lot of mistakes, a lot of
Yeah.
and bad deals and risks. But I think if you trust the process and you just stay at it and just never give up, your dreams will come to fruition.
Yeah. Yeah. I always tell people, in life, we don't get to do everything. And sometimes the exact dream you wanted may not have been for you. But if you understand how to work hard and keep the main thing, something at some point has to work. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's something that whatever you're putting all of your energy to, it has to come back. It may not come back in the way that you expected it to,
Right.
back in another form. And
Yeah.
that's peace or happiness, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Is there anything you haven't done that you wish maybe you did? Or maybe it's a goal further down the line?
I wish I could have started my LLC sooner.
Okay.
Now, I say that also. I'm very big on business and being a boss babe. I have a
Mhm.
podcast, that's Just Girls Pod, that I just
Okay. Shout out to the boss babes.
for Black boss babe girls. And
Black boss babes. That sounds like a hashtag. I like that.
but one of the things that I wish I could was do my own thing earlier because with iHeart, I was a national partnership executive.
Hmm.
What I did at iHeart, I helped national and small mom and pop shops brand themselves and give them campaigns to get exposure and just grow and scale.
Hmm.
And when I noticed that a lot of the meetings that I would take, it was nobody who looked like me. And when
Hmm.
I was doing all of this hard work for a company where you only get a percentage of the sale,
Right.
and you're talking to teams of these companies and they do what you do, and it kind of insults you a little bit because
Yeah.
I can do the same thing that you're doing, but I'm doing it for a major conglomerate, you know?
Yeah.
I wish that I could have started my LLC sooner so that way I could have had that clientele by now.
Hmm.
But I trust the process. And then I'm grateful that I didn't start it then because I didn't know everything that I knew now. So
Hmm. Okay.
I honestly think in a way, God was like, you're not ready for the big dogs yet. So
Right.
still got some more stuff to go through to learn.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. I always say that regarding like some things I've wanted to do. My daughter is 14, and I had an opportunity to move to Atlanta in 2011. She was 2. And I just was like, if I do that, we may not have the relationship we have now. You know what I mean? And at the same time, this is 2023. It was 12 years ago. I definitely didn't know what I know now. God grief. Like overwhelmingly, even just how to manage your emotions. It's not even always the knowledge of the industry and things like that. Just how to manage you.
Yes.
You know what I
Outside
mean?
out of the entertainment world because
Right.
it's stress in and of itself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Go a little deeper about what you did at iHeart because I know you're doing your own thing now. I definitely want to get into that too.
Yeah, so with iHeart, I it was my first job when I got to Jacksonville. So I'm in Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
At that time, I was freshly new here, and I've always had a 9 to 5. Regardless of what I was doing on the side, I always had a 9 to 5 to pay the bills. And, of course, now in 2023, the way inflation and everything is happening, I was like, I'm not going to give up this 9 to 5. But if I take a 9 to 5, it has to be something that's going to scale me. It
Yep.
has to be on a resume, and it has to be something that I really want to do.
Scale, big word. Yes.
Yeah, so when I got to iHeart, it was more so of a sales role. I have done sales before, but I don't like sales because I don't like being fake, and I don't like the bribery of
Yep.
having someone to spend their cash.
Agreed. Yep.
Yeah, so I noticed that one of the biggest things that I did at iHeart, I was able to get Delta Airlines, Panera Bread, and other big major brands on the phone that
Hmm.
other colleagues weren't able to do. I was only there,
Wow.
and I had a meeting with Delta Airlines about their app.
Wow, that's big, man.
But that's thank you. But that's how I knew that it was almost like a calling on my life, because if I'm the new girl here and I'm the youngest of this staff and I'm calling these big major companies, first time really doing sales, obviously I'm meant to be in this space in some type of capacity.
Yeah.
So over time, I got a mentor there, Monique Blue, who is now a partner of mine, and she just took me under her wing, and it was the best thing that could have happened for me. So if nobody takes anything from this call, too, I do want them to know that mentorship is very important when you are trying to
Hmm.
scale yourself. Uh,
Yes.
listen to
Majorly important.
Yeah. So, just to make a long story short, she introduced me to a lot of the concerts that were going on here and a lot of the celebrities that had already established partnerships with Jacksonville. And I
Hmm.
just build those connections and network with them and help them even further with their campaigns. And I decided to, get out of iHeart because, once again, I got tired of the corporate structure of always you have to look a certain way, you have to talk a certain way, and there's a quota that you have to make every month.
Yep.
Every quarter you got to make this amount, and right now no one was trying to buy. No one was
Yeah.
trying to buy, and a lot of folks weren't doing anything with advertising because they didn't know what to do after COVID. You know,
Yeah. That's a lot of pressure to be trying to sell during the time when nobody's trying to buy. And the
yeah,
company is looking at you like, make it happen.
yeah.
Okay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but
I don't know what to tell you.
right, exactly.
So I had an amazing time at iHeart, and one of the things that I always, because I'm very still cool with iHeart, and I still support them, and they support JZG-PR. I still hang out with a lot of my ex colleagues there, and I'm still a part of
Hmm.
the programming that they have there.
Yeah.
So not too far away, but I think it is very important that when you go to the biggest media company, which iHeart is, it is the biggest media company in the nation. I
Yep.
couldn't go any higher than iHeart.
Hmm.
So at that point, if you have reached the level of the top for working for someone else, take all of that knowledge and everything that you learned and apply it to your business, especially
Yeah. Big
this.
time.
This is a little tip. I maybe shouldn't say this, but if that company has certain applications that they use, if they have certain partnerships, getting good with those applications, getting good with those partners that they already have established so that they can
Hmm.
move outside of that company when you move on.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I've heard independent artists, particularly in the rap sector, talk about exactly that. I remember one time the Breakfast Club was interviewing I would love to say the Locks, but it's usually just Styles P and Jadakiss. Chic is just off doing Chic. But they were interviewing them, and they were saying, do you prefer to be independent or work for, be signed by a label? And Styles was like, I like to be independent. And Kiss was like, no, I like that upfront money from the label. But being on a label, and actually gospel rapper Lecrae actually talked about this as well. One of the benefits of dealing with a record label for a specific period of time is the relationships. You build those relationships, you know what I mean? So that you can get people and you know where to go for this. And I know how to market that. I know what to do with this. And what ends up happening is if you ever go independent, now you have all these people that you can call up for what you need to do. You know what I
Right.
mean? So that's a really big, big. I'm glad you said that. That's really big. Yeah, make those partnerships.
And it was something that I wasn't really good at because, if some people who may or may not know my story, I am I was an only child, and then I had a little brother, and then I became an only child again, unfortunately, because he had passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay.
Thank you. But I am so used to just being in my own world, and I'm so focused on my personal goals to where me being that fake and that bribery and doing that,
Yeah.
I want to do that, and
Yeah.
that's why I kind of stayed away from PR, and I kind of tried to go in front of the camera and be the talent because
Mm-hmm.
it's something less that I had to be fake for. I want
Yeah.
to be me. But the good thing about when you have your own business, those relationships are relationships that matter to you. When you're working for another company or someone else, let's say even if you have a partner and your partner is suggesting your clientele,
Mm-hmm.
maybe you don't want to have that type of relationship with that type of company or that type
Mm-hmm.
of business or person who runs the business.
Right.
You're working for someone else, maybe you don't have that choice. You have to.
Yeah.
And that's why I did the JZG-PR, because I got tired of being nice to companies that didn't like people who looked like us, that didn't want to take my advertising and branding expertise and apply it to their programs or their campaign. And I said, well, you know what? I'm going to find clients who actually really want to work with me.
Yeah.
I don't have to be fake, and I don't have to bribe them. So I think that's important.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's funny because I'm a techie. So uh I've had jobs several times working like cell phone companies. And the company I worked for most recently, I really enjoyed the company. They didn't really have managers, they just had salespeople, and one of them was just kind of the lead. The managers popped in, popped out, checked on you, went about their business. It was really awesome. I know so much about phones. My second day on the job, the guy's like, this is old, but he's like, oh, the iPhone 13 Pro just came out and it's the same thing as the 12. And Apple is the king of like, this is
Every
a new year, a new phone, but it's really the same as last year. So he was like, man, it's no reason to get that new one. I'm like, no, actually, it is a reason. He was like, give me 5 reasons. And I jotted them down in like 3 minutes. And he was like, oh, wow. Okay. So you really know this. I'm like, yeah, nothing. I can sell it. And the phone they sold the most in the store I worked in was the iPhone. Problem is, iPhones, Samsungs sell themselves. So naturally, the company is like, you'll get 3 points if you sell the iPhone and the Samsung. If you sell the Motorola or this, you get like 8 points. So make sure you sell those Motorola's. And I'm like, people don't buy them because they don't like them. But
mm-hmm.
my job was to really, hey, how you doing today, sir? I'm fine. Want to upgrade. Okay. I'm looking for that iPhone. What you think of this Motorola? He don't want to hear that. Like, but they really wanted us to like sell these Motorola's and you got more commission. I sold 51 phones 1 month and like 47 of them were iPhones.
Wow.
But
That's
I
a
only got 3 points per iPhone. You know what I mean?
wow, yeah. But that goes to exactly what we're saying. How now you have to be fake, and now you have to talk about something that you don't really want to talk about.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I had a guy come in and I really sold him a cheaper Samsung that was the same amount of points as a Motorola. He came back the next day and just was like, honestly, man, I can't. Can I just get an iPhone? I had to do a whole return and sell the man an iPhone. And it just was
Yes, like right, right,
see, all of this to sell him a phone to get more points. He didn't want it.
exactly. It's something that you even kind of brought it up without even saying anything, was the fact that you were able to know all the things that was going to come out next with the next iPhone,
Mm-hmm.
their branding and marketing too. The fact that you already know, oh well, I know the next one is going to have possibly this, or the next one is going to have that, or the fact that you even know there's going to be a new one. That's
Yeah.
like that's their branding. Every year you're getting a new phone.
Every year between October and November, Apple is going to announce a new phone. Like, and I literally I watch them every year because since COVID, they don't do them live at Apple's theater no more. They just tape the video, which honestly is probably easier in some ways because they've had some years where the iPhone demo went wrong live and you press this button. Oh, that didn't do anything. And it's like, and we're supposed to buy this for what exactly? You know what I mean? So recording the video is easier, but all right, question for you. since you seem to, in my opinion, be good at this, talk about the importance and take whatever time you need. Talk about the importance of taking risks in life.
Ooh, the importance of taking risks. Well, one thing that I've noticed, because that's something that I haven't been scared of. I kind of get that from my mom. My mom, she doesn't let grass grow under her feet.
Shout out to your mom.
She's always been very proactive, and that's one thing that she instilled in me as a kid was that when you meet someone or if they tell you, hey, I need you to follow up by tomorrow, be proactive and do those things.
Yeah.
And me moving from New York to Maryland to Florida, I'm not scared, and I didn't know, who would have thought me coming to Florida, I would have gotten a job with the biggest media company in the nation. Because let me tell you this, when I was in Maryland, I was applying for the BET,
Mm-hmm.
TV ones. I was applying for the iHearts. They were not hiring me.
Yeah.
They were not hiring me. And sometimes you have to go to places where you are a big fish in a small pond
Mm-hmm.
and take it from there.
Yeah.
And places like the DMV and places like New York, I was a very small fish in a big pond.
Mm-hmm.
But Jacksonville, and I would have never thought that I would meet the mentor that I met. I would have never thought that I would have met the celebrities and been able to partner with them and have them as my actual clients unless I would have came here. I
Yeah.
I was unsure of all of this before I came. But when I came to Florida, I had a job with the state of Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to pay me $2,500 on the 30th of every month. And I was willing to take almost a $15,000 pay cut,
Oof.
get out of Maryland because I was tired of Maryland. I had been there since high school. I was
Yeah.
done, you know.
Yeah.
But I noticed one thing with taking risk is that you improve multiple areas of yourself at once. You're over
Mm.
fear, you're building your confidence, you're learning
Yep.
every way,
Yep.
creating new opportunities for yourself. So it's almost like a four in one deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just want to encourage folks, the fear of the unknown, that's what holds us back, is because we don't know. We're not sure. And I think because we're younger, we want to see things, damn faith. I want to see the end result.
I want to see it. Yeah.
And sometimes we have to realize that we are not in control and life does not work that way.
Yeah.
I hear from wiser folks all the time when they say, you plan and God laughs. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that where I just manage my own expectations and I just research as much as I can before I take that risk. And before I take that risk, I thoroughly understand the losses and the gains if it goes either way. And just
Yeah.
for it all.
Yeah. It's so funny. I was talking to a friend of mine earlier, and I was telling her. I said, I'm big on like phrases, coining phrases, particular sayings, and I was like, people don't realize that success and failure aren't possible until you try. You know what I mean? Neither one of them. Well, what if I fail? Well, yeah, but what if you succeed? Like the trying is what makes all of it possible. You know what I mean? Even failing. You know what I'm saying? That's a big thing. And I just was like, that's why trying is so important. Because to your point, I did an interview a couple of weeks ago. I posted it last week with a young lady out of Jersey. And because of the fear and things like that, in my mind, I'm like, man, I don't know about anybody else. I literally, in my mind, I just talk to me all day. You hungry? Man, it's been like 2 hours. Let's get some food. All right, bet. Like, that's really how I am all day long. So in my mind, I'm like, cancel this. Tell her you got to reschedule. Never get back to her about it. You're not going to do this. That was one side of me. The other side of me was like, no, we're not doing that anymore. And I did the interview. Confidence did this. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And then I have a child. So naturally being in Baltimore helps if there's anything needed for her. So sometimes moving around was fearful of that. I had a fear of like, what if I go out of state and she goes to the hospital or something like that? God forbid, of course. But it was like, Jamal, you got to stop being scared of stuff that hasn't happened yet. Like, come on. You know what I mean? So I took a leap and I went to New York to see some friends and to hang out. And that also gave me like a man, number one, this is 3 hours away. Number two, I'm glad I did this. That grew some, you know what I mean? And then today's interview. So it's like you said, you have to take that chance. It'll grow you. And it's a natural thing. Like it'll just happen. You know what I mean? I came back from New York like they had the Jay-Z exhibit. They have the Jay-Z exhibit at the Brooklyn Public Library until December 4th. And
Yeah.
Jay-Z is my favorite rapper of all time. I was walking through there like, oh my God, this is great. This is so great. Like, but if I never would have went,
You would have never experienced that. You would
I'd
have
have
never.
never experienced it. It was so great. I was in there like, oh, and just walking through rapping Jay-Z lyrics. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's the funny thing because we take risks with so much other stuff. We will
Yep.
spend $1 going out and partying and spend $20 more on these pair of shoes that we know we don't have. And we'll even take risks, with our own health, doing things that we know we ain't supposed to be doing.
Exactly.
When it comes to the possibility of elevating yourself, for some reason, we get so scared. And I think one of the things is, the fear of failure, but I also think the fear of embarrassment for folks too. And that's something that I had to get out of. I meet so many people that don't start their business because they are so afraid of what people are going to say, if they're going to think they're corny, or if their stuff isn't up to par. And listen, I'm here to tell you, I've been doing this for 15 years, but I am now a business owner, and this is new to me. I've had a lot of passion projects. I have
Hmm.
a bunch of platforms that I do my passion stuff on and my hobbies,
Yeah.
and I'm making mistakes every day. But I take it in stride, and I know that 10 years from now, I won't be doing the same mistakes. So as long as I learn from that and just keep it in mind that this is for me to learn from, don't beat myself up about, and damn what
Yeah.
people are thinking, damn them, because it's your life to live. And the last thing I want to do, and I think this is why I get my zeal so much, because when I was a kid, and I mean when I was 13, 12 years old, I was creating vision boards for
Hmm.
myself. And I just was like, you know what? I'm just never gonna stop. And I don't want to live. I used to see my grandmother and my grandparents at 60 and 50 years old live with so much regret.
Yeah.
If I shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and now they're just
Yeah.
doing anything. And I just want to tell folks, don't care about what other people say or anything, because you don't want to be 50 years old, 40, even that hell, 40 years old, and
40 years old. Yep.
say, damn, I could have been this year so far into this venture had I just done what I wanted to do, had I just not cared about what anybody said. And when you realize that you're making choices off of other people who don't care.
That's the thing. Like when you really realize, I'm worried if they see me doing this or if I'm with that person, what are they going to say? People don't really care. They're going to use that as gossip to make themselves look good in the moment in a conversation. They really don't care.
And
You know what I mean?
even if they gossip about you, you have to just become to a place of security within yourself to know they're going to talk about me if I'm doing good or talk about me if I'm doing bad.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
And live and just be secure in that and just keep going, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Whew, man. Oh, all right. We might have to do some more of these because I'm just saying, like, woo. Okay, let's pivot a little bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about branding.
All right.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so first thing I want to what is an excellent brand?
An excellent brand, I can give you an example of an excellent brand, I would say would be Nike.
Mm-hmm.
Nike is an excellent brand, and I think an excellent brand is a product platform, service, or company
Mm-hmm.
that has a distinct language.
Distinct.
That distinct language is your tone. Are you a happy business? Are you a funny business? Are you a classical business, a corporate business? I think it is a brand that has, like I said, a distinct tone, a language, and that consists of what's your colors? What are your that you're using?
Mm-hmm.
What is the theme of your content? Who are your partners? Because your partners will mean a lot. And for example, for Nike, all athletes.
Mm-hmm.
You go to any type of athletic event and you see that Nike check, you know someone somewhere got on some quality clothing.
Yep. That's
Or
true.
that player is wearing anything from Nike, the performance is going to be A1.
Yeah. That's true.
So it is the consistent message and language that you're giving your target audience as well as just the public.
Mm-hmm. Target audience.
Hmm.
It's another really big phrase. Target audience. You got to know your target audience. Who are you talking to? What do they like? Target audience.
What you give them.
Yeah.
If you are an athlete, it's one thing to be an athlete, but are you going to give them tips? Are you going to give them just content of you doing the sport? Or are you going to give them, like uh, fun around the sport, like the pop culture of the sport?
Mm-hmm.
It's different ways that you can do your brand. So you have to, and one thing I tell my clients all of the time, it's okay to be unsure.
Yeah.
It's not okay to be unsure sometimes when making the groundwork decisions.
Okay.
Because you always want to, and when you're creating a business and a brand, you have to know what it is.
Yep.
Because if someone comes up to you and asks you, what's JZG-PR or what's the Jamaal Bethea Show, you have to know.
Yeah.
And a lot of my clients, they come at the very start. And even then, they have so many ideas that they don't hone in that niche
Yeah.
to something that they do.
Mm-hmm.
It's celebrities. I
Yeah.
love celebrity content. So I produce a lot of entertainment artists. I do a lot of entertainment events. But if you're doing entertainment and political and corporate and education, people don't really know what it is unless you brand yourself as
Yeah.
variety.
Right.
So it's just knowing exactly what it is that you want to put out for.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. What are the biggest misconceptions that you see as it pertains to branding?
The biggest misconceptions I see it pertains to branding, and actually branding, marketing, and PR, they kind of all overlap a lot. And the biggest
Mm-hmm.
misconception is that you need a really big budget and you need a lot of money to even make anything happen. Now, I will say this,
Okay.
and this is a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people, but it's the truth.
Uh-oh. Dun dun
They
dun.
invest in yourself.
Yeah.
And you don't have to have a major 5,000, 10,000, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 dollar, you know, marketing spend to be successful. Success can come in the form of word of mouth. Success can come in the form of just having a bunch of followers or comments or just the engagement. You know, that can be success. And you can get those things in other ways than just spending your money. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a hack here. So one thing that I love to do is have events, create that QR code, and when they go to that, make give people stipulations. You cannot gain entry until you follow this page. You cannot do this until
Hmm.
you comment on this post or until you share this post. That is a great way to get exposure for free. And also offer something to your audience, people. A lot of people don't want to do sales because they just want to make money. I get it. But offer something that will make them want to support you for free.
Incentivize them.
Yes, and I tell my clients that all of the time. There are multiple blogs like the Shade Room, Onside, the Neighborhood Talk, Hollywood Unlocked, Say Cheese TV, ESPN. See what their smaller blogs offer with the same reach. if you have a blog that is 10,000 followers, that is a real site, is no bots. If
Right.
that your audience is in there, if they want to charge you $100 for a story post, you don't have to do that every month. But when you have a campaign or when you have a new song or a new product, you
Hmm.
want
Yeah.
when you do that. And I think they get overwhelmed by pricing. But as long as you research and really review the return on your investment, it'll always be worth it. And if
Yeah.
you capitalize on that opportunity, if you pay a blog site to post your song for 24 hours on the story and you're not screenshotting and sharing it to your friends and telling them to share and thanking them for posting and commenting under the post, you're not capitalizing off of that opportunity.
Yeah.
So it's more than one way to skin a cat if you don't have the big budget. Trust me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
Um, say it
utilize
again.
trials, please. All these things that give you a free trial for 2 weeks, for 14 days,
Hmm.
that take that risk and test it out with no guilt because it's free.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Are there anything that you've seen big companies do mistakenly that you felt like you wouldn't see a big company do?
Well, is there well,
You know what I mean? Like perception wise, you feel like, oh, this company's huge. They probably got it all figured out. And then you behind the scenes with working with them and you're like, you know what I
um,
mean?
there definitely have been a few. One of the companies that I will say that I have been kind of disappointed in, and I think all of us as a collective, this is not a condemnation, of,
Right.
but it is a critique of the company.
Okay.
And BET.
Okay.
When I noticed, and our age group, we grew up in the rap city in the basement. What 106 in Park, excuse me. So
Cedar's World, all of that.
we grew up with those shows, and when I saw the switch to the other, form of management, I was very surprised. And even then, recently, when Puff Daddy and I think Shaquille O'Neal and some other billionaires tried to purchase BET,
Hmm.
it didn't it didn't do what it needed to do.
Yeah.
So that really shocked me because I thought their purpose and what they stood for
Hmm.
is what they were trying to do with those offers. But I'm really at a loss as to what BET is trying to do right now.
BT been lost for a while. No, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, and that would have been the perfect branding because unfortunately we know what's going on in the news now. But then if you would have had Tyler Perry and Sean Combs on board, they're branding gurus even in themselves.
Right.
They're marketing geniuses. So I think that would have been a great move.
How would you change what BT is doing right now?
I would allow for Tyler Perry and other executives who are obviously seniored in this industry,
Hmm.
would give them a chance, even if it's not a complete buyout. If they can do a short term 2 3 year deal, the partnership, just to give us some new content, I would love that
Hmm.
because their award shows, their late night shows, a lot of their news have been just wiped, and I think Black people need that.
Yeah.
So I think that they should just go on ahead and let these people buy whatever they can afford and don't up the price on the stock.
Right. Right.
Yeah, just work with us.
Hmm.
Just do and kind of target the younger kids because right now we already have the BET her, we have the other platforms from BET for our age group, but
Hmm.
the kids have nothing.
Yeah, man. That's it's so crazy because I work with children and I just, I always hear older people that are just like, oh, these kids. And I'm like, I work with them. It's definitely can be damn difficult at times. But do we ever really consider the adults in their lives that have just consistently dropped the ball.
It all starts at home.
All starts at home. And I just see it every single day. And I'm just like, it's so multi-layered, that issue where it's like, how can you point the finger at them looking at everything that's just been stripped away from society over the last 30 years? Like, what can you really, you know what I mean?
And
I just, go ahead.
I don't know how parents deal with it because, like, you are a parent. I don't have any kids, but I see other folks with kids, and they're like, our children are bored. There's nothing for them to watch. There's nothing for them to do after school to keep the mind going. Like, what
Yeah,
can occupy their space?
right.
And they're just learning from each other and the internet. So,
Yeah, literally. That YouTube, you know what I mean? It's crazy. It's just like, as far as my daughter, me and her mom do a great job of just talking to her, standing in her face, picking her brain, seeing what she thinks. Especially as a dad, I have to give her a space to really say, "Hey, I love you. You're wanted. Talk to me. I don't care what it is. Please talk to me." I think that's the main thing missing because, like, I'll say maybe a month ago now, it was American Education Week. I
mhm.
work at a school. My daughter's at another school. So I told, my job, hey, I'll be in around 11. I'm going to go to, my daughter's school for the first two periods. And this is one of the better schools in Baltimore County. She goes to Carver Center in Towson. She's there for vocal music. I
Nice.
was pleasantly shocked that in her first class, it was me. There was another black guy. He's a father. And then it was a black father and a Chinese, I'm going to say wife, just to say it. But they had a child together. That was it. That was us in the first class. And in second class, it was me and two, maybe three white moms. And that was it. And that was at Carver Center in Towson. I go to the school I work at. There was zero parents in the building. Zero. And I know it's because a lot of them are working a job, two, three, and they probably just like, I can't get the time off. And I just really, that saddens me because, the children just seem to have nobody to turn to. They just really, really do. This is the second school I worked in. I always tell people a story. I worked in the school last year and I was dealing with children, and there was one girl and she was just angry and, excuse my language, bitchy, just always saying stuff about people. And so they called me to the office. They were like, "Mr. Bethea, I'm gonna ask you to walk her to class every day. She won't go. She won't go. Here's her schedule. Walk her to class." And I just was like, okay. And naturally, she didn't like it. So we're walking and she's like, all this other stuff. And I started imitating her. And she started laughing. You know what I mean? And it took about a month. And it went from like, oh my God, why is he walking me to class? To like, oh my God, hey, Mr. B. And I really realized one day before I had realized it, I was like, hey, what's up? And we just kind of became cool like that. So she got suspended, came back. Mr. Bethea can come to the office. I'm like, okay. I go to the office. I'm like, hey, what's going on, sweetie? Her name was Isabella. And they were like, she said she won't go to class unless you walk her. So it went from why is he walking me to like, I'm not going to class otherwise. I was like, all right, cool. That's no problem. Sure. Like at that point, that's just what we do. You know what I mean? Or if I'm in the hallway and I see her, excuse me, why you not in class? And she run. And it just became honestly kind of fun between me and her. A lot of the kids really. But the sad thing was, say it again.
She needed that interaction, that
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah. She needed that. You know what I'm saying? And so when I went to the office to pick her up, I met her mom. And this is where everything just crystallized because it was like, hi, I'm Mr. B. Because, for some reason, but they, whatever, it seems to be hard to say. So, Mr. B. People be like, but what's your actual name? It's better if you just call me B. Mr. Mr. B. So I was like, hi, I'm Mr. B. I'm one of the guys that works here. Isabella's a great kid. Da, 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 da. Her mom was like, oh, okay, nice to meet you. How are you doing today? And I just was like, right in that moment, I realized she's embarrassed. That's what
Uh,
she's so angry about. And so she was like, nice to meet you. Thanks for taking care of my daughter. And she looks at her mom and she goes, "All right, mom, I'll see you later." And she's like, "Okay, honey, I'll pick you up. Have a good day." And she's just like, all right, fine, fine, fine. And her mom is like, "What? Why are you so angry?" And I'm just like, in that moment, you realize how many kids in this school are dealing with that at home.
That's it.
And I'm just like, wow. It really hit me all in that moment. This is the same little girl that came and sat at my station and just was like, "They keep telling me I'm ugly. I already know that. I don't need to hear it." And she just began to cry.
Mm-hmm.
I just was like, I know you don't have a man at home, a father speaking into you. I just took that moment. I was like, first of all, you're far from ugly. She said, really? I said, yes, but you have to wake up every day and you have to look in the mirror and you have to believe that. It don't matter what I think, your mom think. It don't matter. If you don't wake up every day and look in the mirror and say, damn, I look good. And she just was like, okay, all right, cool. You know what I mean? And I know I kind of went off this way. I'm sorry, but like the kid piece is just, man, like I just see it every day, every day. Oh man,
That's why a lot of these companies need to do better with their branding towards
yeah,
because especially our black children, we need them right now. So yes.
yeah, yeah, man. Okay, last question. What would you say your overall message is? Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. There we go. All right,
Can
it
you hear me?
cut out for a second. I can hear you.
My, my overall message is, and this is something that I have found that my clients, this is something consistently that they get from me. This is without me even saying it or doing it. It's just something that I give off. So I know it's something I
It's
got.
it's chop it's chopping up a little bit.
Is it chopping up now?
Yeah, the video your audio is pretty good, but it's chopping up a little bit.
Should I move over here? Better no.
It's still chopping a little bit.
Okay. Well, if you can still hear me, I don't mind if the screen is paused.
Say it again.
I don't mind if the screen is paused if they can still hear me. Can you still hear me fine?
We can still hear you. Yeah, yeah, go ahead. I can hear you. Go ahead.
Um,
Technology is something else.
you said what?
No, I just said technology is something else.
I'm so sorry, but I don't want
Oh,
to.
it ain't you. It ain't you. Trust me, technology is just.
Well, my last thing I want to say to people is that it's never too late. It is never too late to do what it is that you are. I know a lot of entrepreneurs, especially with my musical art. Music is very it can
Ja, you still your video is good, but not the audio. Say something else. The
okay.
audio is kind of chopping. Go ahead, say it again.
Say it again. Can you hear me now better?
Boom. Yep, I can hear you. There you go.
Can you hear me now? Is that still
Yeah,
good?
yeah, you're good. Can you hear me now? Good. Yeah, yeah.
Off on saying that it's never too late to do what you want to do or what you're passionate about. I noticed that with a lot of my musical clients, and this is even dating back to when I was on podcasts like Break Live, my first podcast experience on it. And also, as you know, I've been as well a lot of rappers and R&B artists and poets.
So the audio is going in and out. It's really weird.
I have to come back here. Is this
Try
better?
that. Yeah, try that. Go ahead, say something.
Okay, am I talking?
Yep, I can hear you. All right. We gonna
All
get
right.
this last question because look, all right.
But that's
we gonna, go ahead.
come out because just keep acting up. But like I said, um, I think one of the biggest things to take is just to know that it's never too late
Yeah.
to keep going with your business. And like I said, with a lot of musical clients, I'm talking to my people in music here. There are other ways to skin a cat. I know a lot of people who are in music want to be at the biggest award show, at the biggest event, and have a million copies sold.
Yep.
But have you ever thought about being in weddings? Because they charge an arm and a leg. Have you ever thought about
Mm,
being on a cruise ship? Have you ever thought about just providing clean rap songs for retail stores?
yep.
It's so many other ways. And then also they have basketball teams where you can become the anthem of the basketball team. They have ballet classes where you can have songs in ballet. Tap into other avenues and just don't be discouraged. And for my older folks, because I have a lot of older clients, it's never too late. The world is literally your oyster, and the people that are for you are for you. If you just
Yeah.
properly invest in yourself, don't give up, and like you said, find those opportunities. Those opportunities will come back to you. So that's what
Yeah.
I want people to leave with. Outside of all the branding and the PR, it's never too late to go for what it is that you're really passionate about.
Yeah. As I age, look, that is music to the ears. And look, man, that's something I have also learned. Oh man, I'm getting too old. Maybe not. The world honestly doesn't work
No,
that way in a lot of avenues.
and some of these billionaires, they didn't make their first million until they were 40 something, 50 something.
Warren
You
Buffett
know,
is
and
like that. I think he made his first million in his 30s, maybe. Yeah.
yes, and we see influencers on TikTok and Instagram in their 50s and 60s that
Yeah.
are just now becoming these big influencers in old age. So go for it. Never give up.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, man. Thank you, Josh. Seriously, thank you so
So
much. I'm gonna watch this
thank
back. It's so much you said. This has been fantastic, man. Is there anything else you just kind of want to say?
No, I just want to thank you for the opportunity. I do want to thank everybody for tuning in as well. You can follow me at JZG, like it's written right there, PR on
Yep.
Instagram and Facebook. And you can also check out my website at thejzgpr.com.
Okay, the JZG-PR. Yeah, check that out. Check that out.
Thank
Okay. Thank you so much, Ja. We gonna do this again. I'm just
Yes.
yeah. We're gonna do this again. All right. So just be ready to be like, yo, you trying to jump on live. We're gonna do this again.
Call me. I'm one phone call away.
Bet. Bet. All right. Thank you so much. Guys, that is it for today for the Jamaal Bethea Show. Thank you again to my guest Ja from JZG-PR or thejzgpr.com for coming on and just talking about opportunity. Gotta recognize the opportunity. Gotta recognize opportunities. Don't be scared. Success and failure, neither are possible until you try. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time.